Welcome to Win TV, Mr. Betts and Ms. Pittman. How are you all today?
Thank you.
Doing well.
So
Thank
glad
you
to
so
be
much.
here.
Great, great. Boy, this is it's Black History Month. I'm sure this is the time that your hearts beat loud because you issue a new Black Heritage stamp. I know there was a program yesterday. Roy, tell us about what the nation will receive as a benefit of that program yesterday.
Well, thank you very much, Denise, and we're very, very honored to be here today. And I think it's so appropriate that we follow up the discussion on education because that's why we do stamps, to educate the masses, to bring awareness about the great contributions of men and women and cultures to this country. And so yesterday, we had an opportunity to honor one of the legendary playwrights, August Wilson. And he is the featured Black Heritage Stamp honoree for 2021. And I partnered with the promotion of the stamp with my colleague, Marissa Pittman, as we both were so thrilled that August Wilson was this year's honoree. So again, we do stamps to bring awareness, education, to help not only people in the United States, but people throughout the world to know about the major contributions that Black men and women have made, continue making to this country and the world.
Ms. Pittman, tell me, everybody is excited. We know about August Wilson and that there's a stamp now honoring him. What is that process like? How does the post office decide who will be featured?
Well, first, I'd like to thank you as well for having us here. It really is an honor to do this and to talk about a subject that's near and dear to our hearts. As Roy mentioned, our stamp program really gives us an opportunity to elevate the people, events, and cultural milestones that are unique to our nation. So for those of you who may have missed the ceremony yesterday, you can still check out the recording on our Facebook and Twitter pages. And of course, you can buy those August Wilson stamps at USPS.com/shop stamps. So in terms of what it takes to get a stamp, it really is quite a feat. I mean, it takes several years to develop a stamp. We have a wonderful committee, the Citizen Stamp Advisory Committee, that makes recommendations to the Postal Service about which subjects we should honor on stamps. And that is true too for the Black Heritage subject. So we began working on the August Wilson stamp several years ago, and it really is a collaborative effort between all the stakeholders, the Postal Service, the Citizen Stamp Advisory Committee, the estate. And of course, we take requests from the general public, usually about 30,000 a year, come in for subjects that we should honor on a stamp. So it is quite an involved process and a great honor to be featured on a stamp. So we're thrilled to have honored August Wilson on yesterday as the 44th stamp in the Black Heritage series.
Wonderful. You know, I'm one of those who loves going out and purchasing these heritage stamps. I have plenty. I'm not a stamp collector per se, and what do they call them? Philatelics, or is that the word?
Philatelists, yes.
I'm sorry, say that again, Roy.
Philatelist.
Philatelist. Okay, all right. I'm not a philatelist, but I do collect stamps, and we're going to have an organization on hopefully to talk about what stamp collecting looks like. But from your standpoint, what do these Black Heritage stamps do revenue-wise for the post office? Are they popular? Do people actually purchase them?
Oh, absolutely. The Black Heritage series is among our most popular series. We have other series, Distinguished Americans, Literary Arts, Music Icons, but the Black Heritage series, which kicked off in 1978 with the issuance of the Harriet Tubman stamp, has just grown in leaps and bounds. In fact, the stamps appear on the shelves in our post offices nationwide, and they just fly off the shelf. They're also available, as Marissa pointed out, online. In fact, I often tell people shop online and have a wonderful experience because you discover not only stamps, but stamp related products, framed art, posters. You might even discover a t-shirt, okay, that has the image of the stamp. We don't do that for every stamp, but you'd be pleasantly surprised when you visit our online postal store and you look at the gift section in particular, and there you'll find a number of items that you won't find in your local post office.
Ms. Pittman, I also, going along that same line, there's always this, we always have these stories, whether they're true or false, that, with the Black Heritage stamps, that the post office never gives enough, the local post, post offices in communities run out quickly and they don't order enough. It sounds like, that people believe that there's some intentional exclusion, limitation on Black Heritage stamps. How would you respond to that?
Well, that's false. That's fake news. The Postal Service does not limit based on the subject matter. In fact, every post office, regardless of size, is automatically pushed stamps, and they're ready and available on the first day of issue. So our goal is to produce enough stamps that would last a full year. So, we look at the Black Heritage Series as a major part of our commemorative stamp program. And our goal is to produce multi-millions to get out nationwide. There are cases where there's greater demand than we anticipated. I mean, one that comes to mind is the Dorothy Heights stamp, which is one of my personal favorite stamps. That stamp had tremendous support from Delta Sigma Theta Sorority Incorporated, as well as NCNW, the National Council for Negro Women. And while we produced a large amount of stamps that were anticipated to last a whole year, that one went at a faster clip just because of the wonderful support from the public. So I have to say that's untrue. We do push them out nationwide, and we want everybody to be purchasing the Black Heritage stamps. And it's a great sign, in fact, when they sell out. That tells us that we produced something that really connected and engaged with our customers nationwide and worldwide.
Roy, how far back do we go with these stamps? I know you talked about Harriet Tubman stamp, and I think we have an image of some of the earlier stamps. But can you tell us a little bit, one, why the post office decided to do this? It was Booker T. Washington, that's what it was.
Yeah.
But why the post office decided to even launch this Black Heritage stamp series?
Well, first you mentioned Booker T. Washington, and he was the first African American to have appeared on a postage stamp in 1940. And between 1940 and 1978, with the issuance of Harriet Tubman, there was this void. And there were people in the community and all walks of life who began to take notice. And they said, well, wait a minute, we should have more African Americans featured on stamps. We've made and continue making historic contributions to the success of the country in all walks of life and all industries and careers and fields of medicine and science, the arts, sports, entertainment. And a group of people petitioned the Postal Service, members of Congress, as well as individuals, citizens, to say, hey, we really need to bring more equity in this stamp program of the Postal Service. And so we had the Harriet Tubman stamp birthed in 1987. And we have continued on with the series. And as Marissa said, August Wilson is now the 44th in the series. Now, understand there have been well over 100, approaching close to 200 African American individuals and subjects covered. Kwanzaa, give you a classic example, is a very popular stamp.
And it's a beautiful
we've
stamp
covered
too.
up.
The art is beautiful.
Yes, and we've had Marvin Gaye. Marvin Gaye was honored recently, and so we continue to explore subjects that are known, as well as little known Black history subjects as well, and so that makes the job very rewarding for me personally, as we tell America's story from a Black perspective. And we do that through these miniature works of art that appear on these really tiny postage stamps.
I love it. There's so much history and so many stories behind those stamps. And I remember we were covering a young kid, I think out of Oklahoma, it may have been, or Arkansas, who was trying to get someone from his community on a postage stamp. And I'm not sure if that ever occurred, but we know that it's children as well who have their heroes or sheroes that they want stamps created for. Let me ask you one last question, and then you can add whatever you were about to say.
Okay.
But the difference between the regular, I think the postage stamps now are what, 50? What is the cost of a postage stamp?
55.
55 cents, okay.
55 cents, yes.
But then there's the forever stamp. And can you just explain the difference between the two, and if these Black Heritage stamps, do any of them fall in that category?
Well, I'll defer to my colleague Marissa on that. I've talked enough, so go ahead, Marissa.
So Marissa,
the Forever Stamp, which is the same for the August Wilson Black Heritage, all of the Black Heritage stamps of recent years are Forever stamps, meaning they cover the cost of one ounce mail piece, so first class mail. You can use those, and even if the price were to increase, let's say next year or the year after, that Forever stamp will still cover the postage that you would need for first class mail. So yes, the Black Heritage stamps are Forever stamps versus denominated stamps, which actually has the denomination on the stamp, which is set to that price in the denomination.
This is fantastic. I know you all use like events to actually, launch the new stamp. I don't know if you can give us a hint of who we should be looking for next, or just where we go to find out that information. But I mean, any sneak previews?
Well, I would love for you to all to attend our February 11th virtual stamp dedication ceremony that'll be posted on our Facebook and Twitter page. I think it's quite fitting and timely given our current administration and Vice President Harris that we're honoring a woman and celebrating science by commemorating Dr. Chen Wu. She's a nuclear physicist and advocate for women in science. So look out for that stamp. You can preview it again at USPS.com/shop stamps. Beautiful artwork. It is a forever stamp. And again, February 11th.
Thank you so much, both of you, for being with us today and for sharing this story. And knowing that the post office is doing its part in celebrating the life and history and legacy of Black Americans on that little piece of art, as you say, Roy. Thank you so much for being with us today.
Thank you for having us.
All righty.